You're listening to A State of the Union, estate planning made simple. Here's your host, Brad Wiewel, from the Wiewel Law Firm in Austin, Texas.
Hi, this is Brad Wiewel with the Estate of the Union, our podcast with Texas Trust Law, also known as the Wiewel Law Firm. And we're actually changing our name to Texas Trust Law because Wiewel's too hard to spell. And I am with Sam Wiewel.
Good to see you, Brad.
Thank you, Sam. How do you spell Wiewel?
W-I-E-W-E-L.
There you go. Now, so with Texas Trust Law, I think it's going to be a little easier for people to handle on the spelling side.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Hopefully be a little easier to find us here. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic program. And this is something that I think will both intrigue you and hopefully satisfy a lot of the curiosities you might have about millennials. He is one, okay? And I am a baby boomer.
Definitely.
And this is how I dress virtually every day at work. And
I'm not working today, so this is how I would dress regardless.
regardless,
Yeah.
right. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to help you understand millennials.
Yeah, let's see if that's possible. Bridge the generation gap, right?
At last.
Yeah.
At last. All right. So first, Sam, I'll ask some questions. We'll see where we go. What are your impressions of the fantastic baby boomer generation?
They're good people. They really enjoy the music that they created and the art that their people of their generation created.
Okay.
They can. They've been described as the first narcissist generation, which you've never disagreed with.
No, I would have to agree with that.
And ultimately, when it comes to my generation, you guys are the ones directly responsible for it. So, and the good and the bad.
The good and the bad, right.
Of which, we might say there's a little more good, but who knows?
And who knows? We'll talk about that. So, so narcissistic, baby boomers are narcissistic, which I agree with, but give me your perspective on
that. They seem to still carry around the post-World War II sort of jingoistic kind of sort of attitude that, of course, was instilled on you by your parents, who were the greatest generation.
Sure.
And so, we're all just kind of reacting to the people that raised us, I think.
I think that's probably right. And I would agree with you. I think that baby boomers think we invented just probably about everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Christmas, rock and roll.
Right.
Blockbusters.
Sex, I would say, right, everything. Right?
Drugs, yeah, all that stuff.
So you're a father, and you have a mom, baby boomer mom. What's the general millennial boomer? How would you describe the commonalities and then maybe the contrasts? And we haven't practiced this at all, have we?
No, not at all.
This is all unscripted, right?
Yeah. It's hard to describe. I think that my generation tends to be a little more accepting of new ideas.
Okay.
And a little more flexible when it comes to just different ways of doing things. Because especially with the internet, once that came along, when I was in like junior high school, it feels like that's when we got it.
Right.
There was kind of a shift in, things that you consume, and there's just that caused a massive, more than anything, more than like MTV or rap music. It was
Right.
the internet that really sort of divided us from y'all.
I think that's right.
And even my generation from the Generation X sort of older people.
Okay, which is the generation? Is Generation X before you? Why? Where's?
It's between us millennials and you boomers. It's kind of the first wave of the boomer kids that came along.
Okay.
Jesh, Gabe, all of them are Gen X.
Cousins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think you're right. I mean, when I was a kid, I could tell you stories how hard it was, right? And
Yeah.
I remember when we got our first air conditioners,
Yeah.
window units.
Oof.
And big deal, and the house was cooler all of a sudden. And I remember.
You remember upgrading to a color TV, right?
Yes, I do. And we
Like
had
the family down the street, they the first ones to upgrade to a color TV, and that was some, whoa, it's got
we thought they were rich.
12 whole colors on it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's right. That's right. And we had in my little hometown of Quincy, Illinois, which Sam is intimately familiar with because you've been drugged up there probably 550 times, which is a nice place.
It's beautiful, great people.
They're great people, but we had 2 TV stations, and that's it. We had CBS and NBC. We didn't have ABC. If you could maybe get ABC if you sat in the right place in a town far, far away, you had a little bit. But you guys grew up with cable TV, right?
Yeah, and I mean, even the Gen Xers, they kind of grew up more similar to you with cassette tapes and, go out and rent a movie at the Blockbuster. And
Right.
Things just moved a lot slower for the people growing up in like the 80s. But then, now I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a television channel.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
No,
interesting. Huh.
I'm not going to sit there and watch commercials the whole day. That's or half the time. That's a waste of time. You got to
really
fast
interesting.
forward or move on to, see what's on YouTube.
Huh.
Or check your Instagram or something like that.
News to me. All right. I don't even have Instagram. I look at YouTube. I probably look at YouTube when I need to unclog, or when I need to fix the dishwasher.
Yeah, you look it up. You'll look at it for instructions. I do too, but it's also one of the main forms of media that I think my generation consumes.
Oh, that's really, really interesting. I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. Yes, Wade Chica said yes too. That's right, because Wade's son is in freshman in high school, probably.
8th grade.
8th grade, right? So he's Generation Z or whatever that's called.
The Zoomers.
The Zoomers, is that what they are?
Because they're zooming around everywhere and letting you know how they feel all the time.
Oh, that's nice. That's what we need more of. The people letting us know how they feel all the time.
Yeah,
Right?
that's more them. Millennials, we're still a little more reserved than that.
I think
Not
you
much.
Are. I think you are. Well,
But it's like I didn't grow up, using an iPad when I was 2-3 years old.
like they do.
Like, the kids now, they're born and they can order something on Amazon before they can read.
Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, this is, very fascinating. So, entertainment is a big thing because your mother and I, we turn on TV and we immediately go to the DirecTV guide to find out what shows we want to watch. Right?
Yeah.
And we sit there and we watch them. We watch all the commercials.
Yeah, I bet you do.
We do. Forgive me.
Fast
Forgive me.
forwarding on an Apple TV is a little difficult. I know. It's not the most intuitive thing. That's. It sounds like something I used to do as a kid.
Yeah, well, you lived in our house for a long time. We had cable TV. It was about all we had, I guess.
Well, that's all there was.
Right. That's all there was for a long time until you get a smart TV or something like that.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first cell phone? I don't remember.
You wouldn't let us get one the entire freshman year of high school. So I think that summer, that freshman year of high school ended, that's when I got my first flip phone clamshell.
Okay. All right.
But again, that was what there was back then. That was relatively cutting edge. And then Andy lost it in a taxi cab in New York.
I remember that in New York City. I was with him in the taxi cab when it slipped out, right? Andy's his brother.
The middle child.
Sam's the
Eldest.
Eldest.
And of course Andy lost my cell phone.
Yes.
because he wasn't old enough to have one because he wouldn't be responsible for it. Clearly.
Voila.
Yeah. He lived up to that.
That's interesting. What other entertainment things you think separate boomers from millennials?
I don't even know entertainment-wise, but there's like a running joke that a boomer will tell you, "Oh, you finished college? Just walk into the nearest family-owned business and offer them a handshake, and they'll get you a job. And with that job, you can, buy a house, and then you can live in the house and
have children,
then die there." Yeah, that's kind of a running joke. And like,
what's wrong with that? I ask you.
And then we're over here, driving for Uber and stuff like that. And I'm 31. I don't have a house on my mind at all.
Huh.
I don't know anybody that does. Well, a few people. But for the most part, something, especially like home ownership, is not nearly as important to us as it was to y'all.
Right. Sure, that was the thing. That was the American dream.
Yeah.
Got out of high school, maybe went to college. It was just something I've learned about
Got
research.
drafted.
Yeah, or didn't have to go, but could have gotten. Had a draft number and either had a deferment, had a student deferment, or...
I thought it was a wonky knee. Kneecap.
No, it wasn't a wonky
Okay.
kneecap. I do have a wonky knee, but that wasn't...
I know Uncle Mark had flat feet,
He had flat feet.
which I don't think they exclude people from.
I don't think
anymore.
they do. We didn't have insoles. We didn't have, and we had
No Dr. Scholl's inserts.
No.
Yeah.
We had you get a little foam thing if you had like a bruise in your foot, but that was it. I mean, it wasn't. We had Nike. We had PF Flyers and Keds.
Oh.
Okay, that was it. And they were gym shoes, not most they were got to be called were tennis shoes. So these were hard times, folks.
They sound miserable. I would not. I mean, I'd survive, but it'd be a little boring and slow.
It was a little boring, slow. It was. Let's talk about movies since we're on the topic, and we're going to see a movie Sunday night.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Dune.
Dune. Now,
A novel written, I think, around the time you were born.
I think back in the 50s,
In
right?
the 50s,
For
yeah.
sure, yeah, and sci-fi. But what I've noticed about millennials and your brother's choices of movies is they tend to be more sci-fi, superhero, and mixed in with a lot of the quirky things that you like. But our generation, we liked more westerns. We liked, maybe lighter comedies, more, he, she, romantic comedies. I haven't seen a lot of romantic comedies coming out lately. Have you?
They're not really on my radar when they do come out.
Sure.
But I think it's kind of goes back to, again, what you grew up with. You guys grew up with, Bounty Law, old TV westerns on all the time.
We did.
I don't think there's a single western on TV right now. And the movies don't make much money, so they don't make a lot of western movies anymore either.
Sure.
But definitely the superhero thing is our fault. Probably the Gen Xers' fault too.
Okay.
Because they tried making superhero movies back in like the 70s and 80s, and the only one that really hit was Superman.
Right, which I saw and loved and still...
I've tried to watch them. They're pretty... it's a little slow. I like Superman 3 just because of the schlock elements and...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, all
because I don't like schlock elements.
Oh, it depends on what you're watching. But yeah, there's a lot of schlock in those old Superman movies. But now, you have the whole Marvel train. And
right.
You got more superheroes than fingers and toes.
Right.
It's not something I would have thought of, but I guess it's something I enjoy. But yeah, my brothers and I are a lot more into horror.
Yeah, you are, for sure.
Psychological stuff. More bizarre.
For sure.
That probably comes from growing up with cable and having access to the more diverse sort of ideas.
Well, what
as
I
compared
told
to
you,
the 2 channels on at Quincy.
that's right. What I told you, we're going to go see Dune. That I'm going to read the plot of Dune before we go. So because sometimes when I go to these sci-fi superhero whacked out interesting movies, you know, it's kind of hard to follow the plot line with the action.
Hopefully, Dune should be a remedy. The director of Dune is a French-Canadian guy who hasn't made a bad movie yet.
Okay.
He did that Sicario, and
Okay.
yeah, I think it's
Sicario.
remember with the CIA agents and the drug dealers on the border of Mexico?
I'm not sure I do, but I do.
Josh Brolin.
Okay, that's one that Cindy and I, I'm sure, probably sit down and watch this, maybe this evening.
You've seen it.
I'm sure.
I showed it to you, and Mom would not like it. I can guarantee you. She's not big on drug traffickers in Mexico.
Probably not. We did watch Breaking Bad all the way through.
Yeah, you and I did.
Yeah.
She
did
has not.
No.
But yeah, I think that, you know, we just have a more eclectic taste.
I would say that's for sure. That's for sure. What about you dabble in comedy?
Yeah.
What about the difference is there much difference in comedy now from the Jack Benny, maybe?
Jack Benny, yeah. But at the same time, I think
with George Carlin, he was big.
George Carlin, Richard Pryor, all those guys. I mean, I don't think there's. I know there is a divide between like what, especially the Zoomers, the newest generation, likes or thinks is even appropriate. Because my favorite comedian just died recently, Norm Macdonald.
That's right. You told me that.
And he was a boomer, and he was as funny as they get. Just, you know, a little mean, but jokingly so.
Sure. Where would we put Dave Chappelle in this whole thing?
Oh,
because we watched that too. Mom watched that too.
Yeah,
I showed it around the edges, but
definitely. I mean, the guy's got a long career, so he knows what he's doing. That's interesting. I mean, because Dave Chappelle's getting a lot of flack from the younger generations. I don't see a lot of boomers out there really too mad about what Dave Chappelle's out there doing.
I would think not. Right. So, and he kind of cuts across generations. I think you're right. He's certainly bold.
Yeah.
In what he's saying, but that appeals to boomers on some level, and I guess millennials on another level too. But yeah, no, I mean, again, we're back to Jonathan Winters in my generation, and Robin Williams was toward the end of.
Robin Williams had a little more staying power after, because he did his whole TV show thing with Mork and Mindy.
That's right.
And then, yeah, once, you know, my generation, we don't know him from Mork and Mindy. We know him from all the movies he made. Like
that's interesting.
Mrs. Doubtfire and Flubber.
Right.
A whole bunch of stuff like that.
Flubber, I remember the Flubber. I remember the original Flubber.
I bet you do.
With Fred McMurray, and that was a good movie with black and white and Tommy. What was that guy's name? Anyway, Walt Disney and the Absent-Minded Professor was another one back then, and all that they remade. Okay, wow, this is really good. All right, so what about work? You know, the complaint that boomers have, and probably the complaint that I'm sure the World War II generation had about their children, the boomers, is they don't seem to want to work, and they're working different than we did, and, you know, we go out at dawn and plow the field, and then we milk the cows, then we'd, you know, cut the hay.
Yeah, well, the thing is now you have cow milking machines, and you have hay balers, and these massive... You know, it doesn't really take the human capital that it used to grow, you know, so much corn.
Sure.
But I think a lot of it is a lot of people get disillusioned, especially after college, because, you know, you kind of do have the boomers saying, oh, you'll go to college because everybody needs a college degree, and you'll get a job, and you'll get a job right out of college, and it should be... You know, it might not be what you love, but you'll make, you know, good money. And but that's not really how it shakes out.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of, they call it the gig economy.
Sure. Sure.
A lot of people it's cheaper to pay a part-time worker than a full-time worker. And there's just a lot of people out there looking for jobs. And I think work ethic isn't a generational thing. I think it really comes down to the person.
Interesting.
Because I know some, Zoomers that have great work ethic and, do their jobs right and clock in on time. And I know boomers who, kind of have to be told what to do 30 times and poked and prodded and shuffled along.
And can't wait till they retire.
Yeah.
I mean, can't wait till they retire. Yeah.
And just, likes to complain about the young people. We're great, always a good scapegoat.
I think that's right. I think that maybe that's got to be a universalism, I would think, that even the parents of the greatest generation had to scratch their head at what these new kids are up to and all the newfangled stuff. But back to work. So I work in an office every day, and you work from home.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't work from home until the pandemic.
Right.
But even when I was in the office, if you couldn't find a sheet of paper to save your life, because we don't use it. Everything's done on computers and our phones even, that's communicate through different text messages and services and stuff like that. So, I mean, just the nature of things that we need people to do, the jobs have changed.
Right.
There's a lot more new jobs that, didn't exist back when you graduated college.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like, all sorts of technical and just new avenues.
And you can pay some of your bills, or maybe all your bills on your phone, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I have automatic set up on my computer. So, yeah, I know Mom likes to break out the checkbook and like...
The checkbook. Let's have a shout out for the checkbook.
I pay my rent with the checkbook.
Oh, do you? So you have to?
Actually, it was pretty great back when I lived in China for a few years. They had it so you could just do it on your phone and send them, money that way.
Okay.
But now I'm back here in America, and my landlord is a boomer, so
He wants a check.
I give him a check every month.
And you had to write a check.
I do. Every month when I write the check, I kind of have to go back to last month's and look. Oh, okay, yeah, that's where the name goes, and that's you got to write out. You got to write out the amount. So that's the only thing I use my checkbook for. Everything else, electricity, all that stuff, internet, it's all set up online. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Wow. There you go. Dating. Okay, now, with my day, of course, you would. Who knows how you meet people, but bars. You get. I'm sure boomers or millennials still meet people in bars, but internet dating seems to have.
We don't even call it internet dating anymore. It's just dating. Because, it doesn't need that modifier or qualifier on it anymore. It's just what is.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in my day you could go to the newspaper. Now that's another thing. So to let everybody know how old I am and Cindy are old-fashioned, we still get the newspaper in paper form on our driveway every morning. Now that's what you should do, by the way.
Two on Sundays.
2 on Sundays, that's right. So, so talk about what was formerly known as internet dating.
Well, yeah, you were saying you'd have to go and put a personal ad on.
I could do a personal ad in the newspaper, and you could, it's there's that song called the Pina Colada song.
Yeah.
And I put an ad in the newspaper, or she did, and all that. But that's not what you do these days.
Well, even in the 80s, there's a couple good videos on the internet of mostly guys with dating services that, they'll make a video cassette of themselves saying, "Hey, I'm John. I'm born in 1955.
Okay.
I like dancing and I like playing poker," or something like that.
Right.
It's just very cringeworthy.
Cringeworthy.
But now, yeah, it's just there's different apps for different things.
How do the apps differ? I don't know that.
Well, there's Tinder, which is the big one. That's, or it used to be. That's just swipe right if you think somebody's attractive or you want to talk to them. If you don't, swipe left.
Huh, okay.
But that ends up with men like swiping right on every single woman. And then women are filled with requests and they get to be a lot more pickier.
Sure.
And then you have something like Bumble.
Yeah, I've heard of
which
Bumble.
is, their thing is that the women get to initiate conversation first.
Oh, that's what makes them different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have different group dating apps if you want to go out on a group date.
Oh, really?
Or, yeah, or, you know, they have farmersonly.com if you're interested in, you know, being romantic with a farmer.
A rural deal.
A rural person, yeah.
Huh.
Of course, there's JDate, or if you want to meet a Jewish person.
Oh, really? Huh.
Black people meet.
Huh.
A whole bunch of stuff.
Huh. Huh.
You don't have to be Jewish to use JDate or black to use Black people meet, but that's, you know,
Kind of the focus.
the audience that they're catering
Yeah, I bet the
towards,
Catholics have one too.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of fish.
Huh. Huh.
There's every type and every flavor.
This is very, very interesting, everybody. And this is something that you want to rewind this. Of course, you don't rewind stuff anymore either, but you might want to watch this a couple of times.
Skip back.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, again, we had tape reels. You know, put one here and over there. We had certainly. You remember the old VCR?
Yeah. Or you got the main thing that I think it would be difficult for us if we had to go back in time is phones and talking to people.
Really?
You guys would have to play phone tag.
Oh yeah,
you
that's
know.
right. Because if you didn't have,
If you were around even when answering machines were
right,
a thing,
which didn't show up until
80s, 90s.
yeah, early '80s probably, right? Which was kind of good, kind of bad. But yeah, you would just call and it was just chance if you got the person that you were trying to reach, and they wouldn't know you called, and they didn't know you were trying to call.
And they'd just have to pick it up, and it could be anybody on the line. You had
Sure.
no idea of knowing who it was, or
Yeah, and we didn't have hackers, and we didn't have you know, all the other more sinister stuff. But we also didn't have Facebook. Now, you mentioned Instagram. Why did you do that with Facebook?
Facebook has transitioned into being more of a place for boomers
Okay.
and the older generation. Because, you know, you can add all your friends from high school and college and
Sure.
see if they're married or divorced or...
See what they look like now, whatever?
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's, you know, Facebook, you guys like writing long, like, walls of text.
Right.
And then, you know, just posting it with, or at least some of our family members do.
Sure.
And, yeah, Instagram is a lot more streamlined.
Okay.
It's just photos, but at the same time, you know, there's those studies coming out that say that they know Instagram is harmful for, like, young teenagers.
Oh, because they're just seeing these pictures and
Of people with perfect lives and perfect bodies, when, you know, it's not... It's even easier now to manipulate a photo. That's like, it used to be some sort of, you'd have to get a government agency to, you know, doctor the photo.
Right,
but
right.
now you can do it on your phone.
wow.
And,
I didn't know that. I did not know.
oh, there's tons of filters that can make your face look thinner or your skin a lot smoother.
Huh.
And yeah, it does lead to sort of,
Envy.
yeah, a lot of envy and a lot of, you know, people thinking that's what the ideal should be, and they don't reach that ideal, then that, you know,
They're flawed.
really hurts their self-worth. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Interesting. Wow. I took some notes. So
Yeah, on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I got
On,
some notes.
this is the generational divide right here, right? My question. So I think we're just about out of time. Health. So I read this about health. So in my day, health, and the people that wrote this article said it well, was it's from Fairy God Boss. That's where I got the website I got it from. Give them full credit. Health in my day was just not being sick.
Yeah. Like they had smoking sections at the gymnasiums.
Oh, sure. Of course you did.
Not even a section. You could just smoke.
No, just smoke in the gym. Sure you can.
Or I'm sure when the doctor delivered you, he had a cigarette like dangling from his lip.
Probably did.
A little ash got on the...
Probably did. And my mom might have had one. She might have been smoking one too.
No.
Well, probably not. But my dad was probably in the waiting room because men didn't go in.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure they were fine with him lighting up a big cigar in the
That's what. In fact, you would pass out cigars to everybody because you had a new baby. But health for millennials is different.
Yeah,
You just came from a workout, right?
Yeah, I did, and well, I'm trying to be more focused.
Right.
And I mean, it does help that smoking kind of got such a bad reputation in the 80s and 90s, because there are some people in my generation that smoke cigarettes, but not a lot.
Okay, sure.
If anything, they're going to vape.
Okay.
Which is less bad. I don't know if it's
bad. Okay.
right. I don't know if it's totally free of
problems.
Issues. But but then there's the opposite side where there's a big fat acceptance movement going on.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, healthy at any size sort of thing.
Huh.
Which health experts and professionals say that's not a thing.
Right.
You can't be 400 pounds and a healthy person.
Right.
They're kind of mutually exclusive.
Right.
So there is a big movement towards, they call it body acceptance.
Okay. Sure.
But yeah, I mean, they seem to be, again, once the internet came out, it kind of gave voices to all these groups that wouldn't have had voices otherwise.
Sure.
Some of them good, some of them not great.
Right.
It's kind of like, listen, you guys should have been like designated as the village idiots and then like not allowed to participate in the village conversations and politics. But now they have Twitter and they can be as loud as they want and make a whole bunch of noise.
It seems like they do. And your generation seems just more focused on eating better, again, exercise. I mean, I started to work out when I was probably in college, not probably at law school a little bit, but not such a big focus on it.
And there are a lot more options now to eat healthier and...
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we had skim milk in the dairy container section of the store, and we had, I think we had 2%, but organic was unknown, and you didn't really, I remember
you guys were still painting your bikes with lead paint and...
Sure.
Shoving asbestos into every home and building that you could.
Everything, that's right. Wow.
Having the government roll their trucks down the street with pesticides.
Yeah, we used to, Cindy and I both were, they would come by and spray the mosquitoes with, ride behind in the smoke, so to speak, which was really the insecticide. So, things have changed just a little bit, I reckon.
A little bit.
And we didn't have, I don't remember when airbags came out in cars, and seatbelts came out, and the old cars have a nice metal dashboard, so lots of change.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember a story you telling us, like how if one of you in a car ride needed to take a nap, you just climb into like the back.
Yeah,
where the window
shelf
was.
there.
The shelf.
Yeah, sure.
No seatbelt.
No nothing. Didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, seatbelt used to be like, oh, what? You don't think I'm a good driver?
Right.
You have to put on your seatbelt, sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's changed
a lot.
Yeah.
All right. I think what we got to do is stop here, and reconnect again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Brad.
Well, Sam, you've done a great job. This is educational, hopefully entertaining, and there's a lot of boomers out here that have a lot of questions about millennials. He is one. He'd be happy to answer your questions for a small fee, probably. But
and on the bright side, we're not going to ask you any questions. You've already told us everything about yourselves and what y'all like and what you made. So
Yeah, we don't mind telling you that.
we're
too.
just here to help.
Okay. So thanks, Sam. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back again. Have a great day.